hang on for just hang on for one more second. All right, maybe we'll start in like 1 minute. All right, let's just go ahead and get started. So hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa LaFosse. I am a sexual health educator at the NYU Student Health Center at 726 Broadway, although I'm at home right now. So I'm the Sexpert. If you've ever heard of the Sexpert, that's me. You can put this face to that name. And I'm here today to talk about sexual health, sex, pleasure, all kinds of different topics. So what I've done is I've created a presentation with poll everywhere. So that's going to make it like super interactive. So I definitely want everyone to participate. That'll just make it a lot more interesting and fun. And we'll see how things go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and start. Okay, so the title of this presentation is Sexploration. And again, that is me. All right, so since this is a poll everywhere, there's 2 ways to join. You can do it by texting on your phone. You want to text Alyssa123 to the number 22333, or you can do it online, like through the web at pollev.com/Alyssa123. If you do it by text, the Alyssa does have to be in all caps, or else it will be weird. So I'll give everyone a minute to do that.
Alyssa, can you paste the link in the chat box? We just got someone in the chat asking.
Oh yeah, and actually this will also show up on every single slide as I go along. So if people join in late, they can also see it on the slide. So let me actually.
Deanna just did actually.
Oh, okay,
so
perfect. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. I have everything like minimized now, so it's like hard to find. Thanks, Deanna. Okay, so hopefully everyone is in. Does anyone want to chat in if they're not in? Let me see. Everyone good? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Whoops, hang on. Well, okay, so people can go ahead and start answering. Okay, so the first question is, a person with a vagina can't get pregnant the very first time they have sex. Do people think that's true or false? Hit A for true, B for false. By the way, the answers to the poll are anonymous. I think that shows up on the screen too. So there's no way that anyone is going to know who is answering what. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and answer. Whoever answered B, that is correct. Someone can get pregnant the very first time they have sex. This might seem obvious to many people, but some people actually believe in this myth. Many vagina havers have gotten pregnant the very first time they had sex because they believed this or they were convinced of it by their partner. So it's really important to use condoms and or birth control to help avoid pregnancy, including the very first time someone has sex. All right. Next question. Peeing after vaginal sex can help to prevent pregnancy. A for true or B for false? Okay, looks like people are answering. That is correct. It is false. And now the next question, okay, peeing after sex cannot prevent pregnancy. And the next question is why? This is a free text response. So why does peeing after sex not prevent pregnancy? Anyone know? If you don't know, you can type in, I don't know. Some people, don't know. That's why we're here. Has anyone typed in a response? Okay, there we go. No idea. Great, thank you. Maybe because pee doesn't go where the ovulus is. Okay, because the ejaculate material has already entered the vagina haver's body. Okay. So the person who wrote no idea, but then actually guessed, maybe because pee doesn't go where the, I'm gonna guess by ovulus, you mean like the egg or the sperm. That is correct, okay? They are different openings. Semen goes into the vagina. That's where, the penis goes for sex, and that's where semen comes out of, into the vagina. Urine or pee goes out the urethra. Different openings, different holes, different structures. So that is why peeing after sex will do absolutely nothing to help to prevent pregnancy. Okay, all right, awesome. Next question, what is Plan B? This is another free text question. And if you don't know, just type in, you don't know. I don't know, awesome. Okay, pills is close, yeah. Plan B is a pill. It's also known as the morning after pill, and this is to prevent pregnancy. It does not terminate an already existing pregnancy. If someone is pregnant and they take Plan B is going to be absolutely harmless to an already developing fetus. But if someone is not pregnant, it can help to prevent a pregnancy. It has to be taken within 3 days of unprotected sex, but the sooner it's taken, the more effective it is. You do not need a prescription to purchase Plan B. It is available over the counter, and anyone can purchase Plan B regardless of their gender. So that is something that is relatively new. It used to be only women could purchase Plan B, but now anybody can. So there we go. Okay, next question. What is the most common symptom of an STI or a sexually transmitted infection? This is another free text question, so go ahead and just give a guess. Don't know. I love the don't knows, because you will know in just a minute. Itching or redness in the genitals, that is a symptom. Fever can also be a symptom with certain STIs. Pain can definitely be a symptom with some STIs. Those are all true. However, the most common symptom is actually no symptom at all. This was a little bit of a trick question, okay? It is possible and very common to have an STI and not to have any symptoms whatsoever. So the only way to know if someone has an STI is to get tested. That is it. You cannot tell by looking at yourself or by how you feel or anything like that, because you can absolutely have something and have no idea. Many people who come in to get tested test positive who didn't have a single symptom, and they're pretty surprised. Okay, this is a true false question. If you are sexually active, it is recommended to get tested for STIs and HIV at least once a year, even if you don't have any symptoms. True or false? Okay, yes, that is true. So HIV testing and routine STI testing, and that's testing for chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis, are free for all NYU students. It doesn't matter what your insurance plan is, okay? I'm glad that people answered that was true, especially since we just reviewed the previous question that, you can have an STI and not have any symptoms. So yes, it's definitely important to get tested at least once a year. Some people like to do it more often, like every 6 months or every 3 months, whatever you feel most comfortable doing, but at the very minimum once a year if you're sexually active. And so to set that up with the Student Health Center, you want to first schedule a virtual visit with a provider, either in primary care or in women's health. And so you'll meet with a provider virtually, and then they will determine if you can come to the health center for your testing or if they will refer you to like a local lab or what have you. So you can schedule in a couple ways. You can do it online through the portal. The address is shcportal.nyu.edu or via phone 212-443-1000. Okay, next question. Using 2 condoms at the same time provides more protection than using 1 condom. Do people think that's true or false? Yes, that is false. Good. You only want to use 1 condom at a time, okay? If you use 2 condoms, the friction between them will cause them to break. So double bagging is great for groceries, but not for condoms. Condoms are 98% effective at preventing pregnancy, HIV, and many STIs as long as they are used correctly and don't break. So you might have seen lower effectiveness rates for condoms. And that's, if it wasn't put on properly, if it was expired, if it broke. But so long as everything goes correctly with the condom, it's 98% effective. So pre-COVID days, safer sex supplies were pretty abundantly available around campus, both at the main campus and in Brooklyn. Unfortunately, right now, locations are a little bit limited. But there are 2 locations as of now where you can get free condoms, dental dams, and lube. That's at the Student Health Center lobby at 726 Broadway, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or at the Kimmel Center on the 2nd and 7th floor bathrooms. Okay, next question. There are medications that can help to prevent getting HIV. A for true or B for false? Okay, we've got some competing. Ooh, look at this, 50-50. Okay, ready for the answer? The answer is true. There are medications that can help to prevent HIV. One is called PrEP and the other is called PEP. So for those of you who answered true, can you answer what is PrEP? This is a free text question. Pre-exposition prophylaxis, pretty close. IDK, awesome. All right, so I'll just go for it. So PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. Very good. So it's a daily pill that someone takes. It's 1 pill once a day, and it's 99.9% effective at preventing HIV. It's extremely, extremely effective, as long as you do indeed take it every day. PrEP only protects against HIV, not against any other STIs. PrEP is available by prescription only. You cannot get this over the counter. You have to see a medical provider for it. And it is available still at the Student Health Center. So if you are not on PrEP and you are interested and you want to find out more, you can schedule a virtual PrEP consult appointment. That's with me. And there again are the resources for how to make an appointment. Okay, so next question, what is PEP? For those of you who know what PEP is, this is another free text question. Yes, great guess, awesome. All right, yep, that is it, post-exposure prophylaxis. So PEP is a medicine that someone can take after they think they might have been exposed to HIV. The most important thing to remember about PEP is that this has to be taken within 3 days or 72 hours after an exposure. PEP I usually refer to it as the morning after pill for HIV, but it's actually a 4-week course of medication. It's not just one pill, it's 2 pills every day for 4 weeks. And the sooner someone takes it, the more effective it is. This is also, just like PrEP, available by prescription only. Pre-COVID, you could have just walked into the Student Health Center and requested it, but right now, because of COVID, we are not really doing walk-ins or urgent care right now. So your best bet to get PEP these days would be just to go directly to your closest urgent care or emergency room or hospital. That would be the best way to get PEP. Okay, next question. There is a vaccine available to all people for certain types of HPV, or human papillomavirus. True or false? Yes, this is true. The HPV vaccine is also known as Gardasil, and it is recommended to people of all genders up to age 45. When Gardasil was first introduced, it was only for women. And some years ago, it became available to men, to everybody, regardless of your gender. HPV is a very, very common STI. It's transmitted through skin-to-skin contact. Most types of HPV are actually harmless, but there are a few types that can cause genital warts or that can cause genital cancers. And again, this can happen in anybody, regardless of what genitals you have. So the vaccine Gardasil protects against 9 types of HPV that cause either warts or cancers. Gardasil is fortunately covered under most insurance plans, including the NYU Student Health Center. And this is also available at the NYU Student Health Center. So if you haven't ever gotten Gardasil, or it's a series of 3 shots. So if you've already gotten 1 or 2 shots and need to complete it, you can do that at the health center. And again, there are the scheduling resources. Okay, next question. What are 3 ways to reduce the risk of getting an STI, a sexually transmitted infection? So this is a free text response. Abstinence, yes. Condom, PrEP, checking the other person's genitals. Protection, yes. Birth control. So, okay, birth control can help to prevent pregnancy, but it does not help to prevent an STI. Condoms, absolutely, for STI prevention as well as abstinent. The pull-out method is a risk reduction method, again, for pregnancy only. But STIs can be transmitted by pre-cum or pre-seminal fluid, which is the fluid that comes out of the penis before semen does. So the pull-out method will not really help to reduce the risk for STIs, although it can help to some degree for pregnancy. And someone mentioned checking the other person's genitals. So I'm not sure if that person was here at the beginning when we talked about how the most common symptom of an STI is no symptom at all. So you can check all you want on your partner and check their genitals with a magnifying glass. And just because you don't see anything doesn't mean that person couldn't actually have an STI. And the only way that they would know is to get tested. So condoms, using lube can also help to prevent an STI, because using lube, if you're using it with condoms, will make the condom less likely to break or tear. Getting tested and asking your partner if they've been tested. And usually, I understand this can be like an awkward conversation. So a really good way to break the ice on this topic is for you yourself to get tested. And then you can share that with your partner. You can say, hey, I just got tested last week. I got tested for such and such, and my results came back negative. I wanted to let you know. And how about you? Have you ever been tested? And when was the last time? So those are the questions that you want to ask your partner, and it's usually easier to bring it up once you yourself have done it. The HPV vaccine, remember, that we just talked about, is also an STI prevention method, and as well as PrEP and PEP, which I think people mentioned. So, and to not have sex or abstinence, absolutely. Okay, next question. It is normal and healthy to masturbate daily. A for true, B for false. Okay, we've got a little bit of discrepancy here. So, 50-50, 60-40, 50-50. Oh, it's tough. Okay, the A's have it. It's true. Okay, this is absolutely true. So masturbation is a great way for someone to become familiar with their body and to discover what they like. In addition to sexual pleasure, masturbation can also help with stress reduction and improve sleep. So there are a lot of benefits to masturbation. There are a lot of taboos and stigma surrounding masturbation, but the reality is, as a health behavior, it's extremely healthy and very normal. So a lot of times people will ask me, how much is too much? What is too much masturbation? So as long as your masturbation practices aren't getting in the way with your daily life and your daily activities, as long as you are still managing to eat and sleep and attend class and get your homework done, then there is really no such thing as too much. During this pandemic, during COVID-19, masturbation is actually the safest sexual act. It is actually the safest sexual act all the time because you can't get an STI from masturbation, you can't get pregnant from masturbation, but especially now, it is the safest thing to do in terms of sexual pleasure. Okay, a sexual encounter should be enjoyable only for yourself. A for true or B for false? Okay, I'm glad to see 100% false. So I realize that this can seem like a super obvious, answer. Like, of course, a sexual encounter should not be enjoyable just for yourself. As a sexual health educator, as the sexpert at NYU, I cannot tell you how many times I have had someone come to me and say that they had a sexual encounter where their partner just kind of pretty much treated them as an object. Their partner was not really concerned or interested in their pleasure, in their enjoyment, was really kind of just there, was just kind of really in it for themselves. And once they were satisfied, that was the end of the encounter. No communication or interest in the other person's pleasure or satisfaction. So that's obviously not okay. And unfortunately, it happens all the time. This may have happened to you, or maybe you know someone who this happened to. So the reason why I have this question here is I want to kind of open up a bit of a conversation on this topic. So my next question is, what are some reasons why people have sex? This can be your reason or just some reason that you think is a common one. List as many as you can think of. It doesn't have to be your own particular reason, but just what are some reasons in general why people have sex? Okay, for pleasure, absolutely. For connection, yes. For pleasure, yep, that's a common one. It's like a broadband connection with the other person, right? For pleasure and for reproduction, yep, to get pregnant. For comfort, yep. To feel alive, yes, absolutely. Sex is supposed to feel invigorating and energizing. Increased intimacy with our partner. Great. To get more experience, that's a really common one. I hear that one a lot. I hear all of these all the time. Okay, so as we can see, people have sex for many, many different reasons, even more reasons than what was listed here. Okay, so what's really important to remember is whatever your reason, it's so important to remember that your sexual partner is an equivalent human being. They're not an object, they're not a sex toy. They're another person just like you. And so to keep that in mind when you are, pursuing your sexual goal. If you're in it for pleasure, that's great. You have the right to feel pleasure and to have a good time and to feel alive. But just don't forget that the other person also, has that same right. And it's important that they also, have an enjoyable encounter, not just yourself. And this will help sex be, pleasurable for both of you, not just one. So I hope that you all take this to heart and This will help me have less people coming to me with really unsatisfying sexual experiences. So food for thought here. Okay, next question. The clitoris is the only human body part that exists solely for pleasure. A for true, B for false. Okay. Got a little bit of debate here. Great. Okay, so the answer is, it is true, okay? I am going to actually stop my screen share just for a moment because I wanna show everyone what the clitoris looks like, all right? This is a life-size model of the human clitoris, okay? This is the full size and shape. A lot of people are not aware that this is what the clitoris looks like. Many people who know of the clitoris, are familiar with the clitoris, know that it has a head right here. This head is visible, you can see it, but many people don't know that it also has all this internal parts to it. It has these wings, it has these bulbs. And so this entire organ is filled with nerve endings and erectile tissue. This will expand during arousal. And it is stimulation of the clitoris that will almost always lead to an orgasm for the clitoris haver. Okay, so I just wanted to, have the clitoris make a little guest appearance here. I'm going to go back to screen sharing, and we'll talk just a little bit more about it. Okay, so. And so yes, it's the only function of the clitoris is to bring pleasure. It has no other purpose, and there's no other human body part that is just like this. So it's kind of like a superpower. As I mentioned, direct or indirect stimulation, whether it's of the head or of the internal structures, is almost always necessary for an orgasm. Contains 8,000 nerve endings, which is twice the number of nerve endings in the head of the penis. And I mentioned this, it's made of erectile tissue that expands and hardens during arousal. Okay, so that was a quick clitoris 101. Next question. Some people are incapable of having an orgasm. A for true, B for false. Okay, is that everyone? Is that 100% agreement for true? Here's the answer. It's false. All right. All people, everyone and anyone is capable of having an orgasm, barring any kind of like physical trauma or surgery that, may have like interfered with someone's sex organs. Barring, just your regular, normal, typical body, all people are capable of having an orgasm. If someone has never had one, it does not mean that they never will, okay? So the important takeaway here is to remember that for people who have clitorises, an orgasm almost always involves stimulation of the clitoris, such as rubbing, licking, or sucking, applying pressure, using sex toys, etc. All right. Many clitoris havers do not orgasm from vaginal penetration. This is a really big myth. I see a lot of students who say to me, I don't orgasm during vaginal sex with my partner. What's wrong with me? But I orgasm during oral sex, or I orgasm during masturbation. What's wrong with me? The answer is there's nothing wrong with you. That's very common. That's how many clitoris havers orgasm. And again, it's usually not from vaginal penetration. It's from the things during vaginal penetration. The reason is because the penis is not, or a toy is not directly, or even usually indirectly, depending on the angle, stimulating the clitoris. So that's why it doesn't usually happen through vaginal penetration. It's got to be some kind of direct or indirect stimulation of the clitoris. Okay, next question. Nearly all people with penises will experience erectile difficulty at least once in their lives. A for true, B for false. Okay. Great. The answer is true. Loss of an erection during sex happens to pretty much every penis haver at some point in their life, even when they're young, even when they're in their 20s, even when they're college age. This is not something that only happens to, quote, older men. This can happen to literally anybody, and it actually happens pretty often to young, otherwise healthy men or penis havers. So there are a million reasons why this can happen. The most common reasons include someone is feeling stressed, someone is feeling nervous, they're feeling pressure, they're feeling performance anxiety, they're too tired, they're too drunk, etc. So again, this happens. It happens to almost every single penis haver. If it happens every once in a while, it is not a big deal. It is not a reason to get worked up about. It is not a reason to start Googling and driving yourself crazy. It is 100% normal for this to happen every once in a while. And it's usually because of one of the reasons listed above. If this happens to someone most of the time or all of the time, then you might want to consider talking with a medical provider or a counselor about what might be going on. Okay, but again, if it's sporadic, totally normal, nothing to freak out about. And do seek out some help if it happens most or all of the time. Okay. It is possible to increase the size of the penis through exercises or supplements. A for true, B for false. Okay. Ooh, I'm getting close. The answer is false. Nice. All right, so the penis is composed of spongy tissue and blood vessels. It does not contain muscle, and so therefore it cannot be exercised the way you could exercise like your bicep. So any products that claim to enlarge the size of the penis, like supplements, for example, they have not actually been scientifically proven to do so. So I would strongly recommend not to waste your money on those products. And it's really important to remember that the size of someone's penis is not what it's all about. It's not like the only or the main determining factor in providing pleasure to someone else. Yes, the penis can provide pleasure, but there are many other body parts that can do that too. So, such as lips, tongue, hands, fingers, etc. So there are many ways to provide pleasure to someone, and the size of someone's penis is not what is involved in that. It's not the most important thing. It's how you use it and how you use other parts of your body as well. All right. Next question. If someone is having receptive vaginal or receptive anal sex and it is painful, they should continue with the sex and eventually the pain will go away. A for true, B for false. Okay. This is another common myth that people come to me a lot about. It's false, okay? If you are experiencing pain in any circumstance, that's your body's way of telling you that something is wrong and needs to stop. So if it's during sex, continuing with intercourse is only going to make the pain worse, not better. I see a lot of people who come to me who said they had this experience that it was hurting and they decided they just wanted to go through it anyway because their partner was into it. I've had people say to me that they told their partner it was hurting and their partner convinced them to keep on going and that the pain would go away, and it didn't. Yeah, it's not going to get better. So if this happens to you, if intercourse is painful, take a break. All right, engage in something that does not involve penetration, like kissing, touching, oral sex, eating ice cream, watching a movie, or sleeping, or anything else. All right, if you do decide to resume intercourse, then definitely add more lube or try a different position. But the most important thing is to take your time and go really, really slowly. If intercourse continues to be painful, if it's painful every single time, or if you are taking your time, you're going slow, you've used lube, you've tried different positions, and it's still always painful, then make an appointment to see me or with a medical provider. There might be something else going on. Okay. Next question. What are some ways to tell your partner what you like or what turns you on during sex? This is a free response question, free text. Say it. Yeah. How could you say it? You can answer more than once. Sexting, yep, definitely. This feels good. I like that. Touch me here. Very good. What are you into? Ooh, that's a great question that not everyone asks. And it might seem so, some of these things might seem so obvious as we're talking about them here, but in the moment it might not seem so obvious. Sexting, yep. Positive feedback, yeah, definitely. I like what you're doing right now, or I like what you were doing before. Can we go back to that? Have you ever tried, oh, I like that. Okay, yeah, these are great. I hope everyone is like memorizing these so they can say them to future partners. All right, I'm like half kidding, no pressure. All right, so communication, that's pretty much what was the common theme in all of them, right? The very first person said it, they said, say it, you have to say it. Your partner cannot read your mind and you cannot read theirs. I see a lot of students who ask me, how do I please my partner? I have a new girlfriend or I have a new boyfriend. How do I please them? Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't have that answer. Ask them. They're the ones who have the answer to that question. Okay. So now I want to really point this out because this is totally contrary to what people see in sex scenes, like in the movies or in porn. In the movies or in porn, you pretty much never or almost never see verbal communication between partners. You don't see them asking the questions that a lot of people just, or saying the things that people, had free texted in the previous slide. You really don't see any of that. And that's because it's fake. It's not real people having sex. It's actors. It's scripted. In real life, people don't automatically know what to do or how to please someone. It might seem automatic in like the media images that we see, but that is not how it works in reality. Okay. So again, the only way for your partner to know what you like is to tell them or to show them. You can put someone's hand somewhere, or you can, just get creative and figure out a way to use your body to show them. And I just can't stress enough how important this is for an enjoyable sexual experience for both partners. If you aren't talking about what feels good or asking your partner what feels good, you're just going to be kind of like, like in the dark, so to speak, without knowing for sure. You're just going to be kind of guessing. Also, if you had a previous partner that really liked a certain activity, that doesn't mean that your next partner is going to like the exact same thing. They might, but they might like something else better. And you're not going to know that unless they somehow tell you or show you somehow, or if you ask them what it is that they like. So these are really important things to remember as you have sexual experiences and relationships with people. Okay, and I think this is the last question, which is, what are some ways to ask your partner if they are enjoying the sexual encounter? So this is another free text question. Does that feel good? Yeah. How does this feel? Great. Tell me what you like. Yeah. I wish if everyone was doing this, maybe I wouldn't have a job. How are you doing with penetration? Are you okay? Yeah, this is really great. You all are really thinking about this. These are great questions to ask your partner in the moment. Again, people don't really have models for this. We don't really see this. Do you want to change position? We just see people having sex, in silence, in like total silence, or like with, like wonderful, sexy music playing in the background. Like there's no awkwardness. There's no pausing to like talk briefly and then move on. So they are not teaching pleasure and sex education. No, they totally are not. They're teaching about STIs and pregnancy, and yeah, that's important, but talking about, pleasure, and not only to figure out what it is that you like, but then how to communicate that to a partner and how to ask them what they like, because sex should feel amazing. Like I love what someone wrote in a previous slide about that, like it makes you feel alive. Yeah, that's how sex should feel. And that's not ever really talked about in sex education. It's usually more like, let's just talk about the bad things that can happen from sex and not about like how it can feel so wonderful. Um, so, so communication, again, super, super important. Check in with your partner and ask if they're okay. Someone just even flat out said that in the previous slide. You can also let your partner know that if they want to stop or slow down, that's also okay. So if your partner isn't really telling you, you can be proactive and say, is this okay? You know, we can stop if you want, we can take a break, we can slow it down. And also, of course, to keep in mind that just because your partner may have consented to one thing, let's say your partner is, you know, has consented to kissing you, it doesn't mean that they've also consented to any other things, such as oral sex or whatever. I just put those two as examples, but I'm sure people, you know, are already really aware of that, but I just wanted to stress that here as well. So that is all I have. Again, this is my name. This is how to make, so there's two ways to get in touch with me. One is you can make a virtual Sexpert visit with me. And again, this is the website for the Student Health Center portal. This is the same portal that you would use to make virtual visits with primary care or women's health, okay? Or you can email me. If you don't want to meet in person, if you'd rather email your question, that's my email address, sexpert@nyu.edu. And that is it. So I'm going to stop the share and just say thank you, everyone, for participating. People came up with some great responses. I'm really excited about that. If people have any other questions, they can unmute themselves or they can just type a question into the chat. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I'm Sam. I wanted to ask if it's true that PrEP is more effective than condoms, because I've seen the numbers and I thought it was less effective, but more.
No, you're correct. PrEP is more effective than condoms for HIV prevention. Yeah, so condoms, again, when they are used correctly and consistently, they are 98% effective, which is very, very good. That's very high. PrEP, when it is indeed taken every single day, is 99.9% effective. So even more effective than condoms, yes.
Okay, thanks.
I know it seems hard to believe that a medication can be that effective, but it is, it's basically like, dare I say, it's like a vaccine. It's like a daily vaccine. Any other questions, comments, anything that surprised anyone? Anyone want more information about something? What causes a condom? So good question. Someone asked, what causes a condom to not be 100% effective if used correctly? So the answer to that is basically nothing can really be like 100% guarantee. That's true for practically anything in life, like seatbelts. A seatbelt is extremely effective at protecting someone in a car accident, but it's not 100% guaranteed that you're not going to get injured or killed, you know, by wearing a seatbelt in a car accident. So it's just, there is just error. There is some degree of error in just about everything. So that's why. Nothing is really truly perfect. Like vaccines, you know, vaccines, the most effective a vaccine can be would be like 99.9, which is like really incredible, but there's no such thing as a vaccine that's like 100% perfect or guaranteed. That's a great question.
This was great, Alyssa. Thank you so much. I think I learned a lot, so I'm really glad that we did this. This was really incredible.
Good. I'm glad. No, this was fun. I was really into people participating. This was my first time doing a poll everywhere. For those participants to know, I had already told this to Deanna and Randy. So I'm also happy that like it seemed to go off without a glitch. I was like really paranoid about that.
Yeah, and everybody, thank you so much for participating. That really helped move this thing along. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, again, feel